Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you joining us for tonight's virtual parent meeting with Venus ISD, and so that we could cover a few things regarding COVID-19 and the school. Well, COVID-19 has brought us into a whole new world. There's no doubt about that. While the death rate of this disease is still quite small, there's nothing small about the passing of a family member, a friend, a neighbor, or a coworker. And at this point, most everyone has experienced the loss of someone they've known through the effects of this disease. So we take this quite seriously. So let me review, if I could, our current COVID-19 situation. Our shutdown this week has really been related to a few staff cases and numerous staff quarantine situations. There are only so many substitute teachers, and our vacancies were just too numerous to cover. So this was creating, while our teachers and our administrators have just done an admirable job in covering these classes. At the same time, we have to look at the quality that's taking place there when we have 2 or 3 classes joined together, as well as the stress put on our staff as well. We also looked at the Thanksgiving holiday. Most people will spend Thanksgiving with family, friends, and there is possible exposure when that happens. And so we decided that we should probably take, besides this week, we should probably take online learning for the week after Thanksgiving to help buffer this period just a little bit. That would also give us time to communicate with parents who can confirm that their kids are healthy enough to return to school the following week. We fully intend to have classes on campus on December the 7th. However, since we're going all virtual on November the 30th through December the 4th, those who desire to pick up lunches during the week of November 30th to December 4th, please email our Nutrition Service Director, Ms. Tina McCormick. Her email address is tina.mccormick@venusisd.net. And we are going to post this email on our website as well as on our VISD Facebook page, so you will have that to be able to access readily. So once again, if you need to pick up lunches or curb service behind the Venus High School during that week, please email our Nutrition Service Director. Well, as I said, this shutdown this past week was not related necessarily to student cases. We currently have now 15 active student COVID-19 cases. Well, that sounds like a lot, and it certainly is more than we would like. A little over a month ago, we had 0 student cases. Well, 15 cases represents less than 1% of our total face-to-face student population. So to put it in context, again, 15 is more than what we would like, but is still less than 1% of our total student population. Well, if you are watching the news at all, you know that COVID cases are increasing all around us. We are in truly unprecedented times, even with this disease at this point. Our increase in cases actually coincides with what we're seeing in the greater Metroplex area, although by not nearly as much. We still want to provide the safest environment possible for our students, so we are increasing our mitigation efforts. We're adding space for additional distancing with portable buildings on 3 of our campuses. So over the holidays, we're acquiring 6 portable buildings, and so we anticipate having at least 2 buildings at the high school, 2 at the middle school, and also we'll have some buildings at the elementary school to help us increase some of our distancing. Increased screening. You know, we screen students when they come in the door in the morning, and that screening has actually picked up some cases that we've been able to send home, which actually turned out to be true to form COVID-19. But we're increasing those, and so we are going to have midday temperature checks as well to help increase the monitoring of the disease should it get on our campus. We also now have the ability to provide rapid results COVID-19 tests to symptomatic students, and staff for quicker detection and removal if necessary. So we think that that's going to be something that's going to help us a great deal. While that may well end up increasing our number of COVID cases, if they're there, we want to make sure they're detected. And so we feel like those tests are going to be quite effective for us. Speaking of effectiveness, at this point, almost 100% of our students who have been quarantined for close contact have returned to campus without ever catching the disease. And we have quarantined somewhere between 250 and 300 students. So it's a pretty good record. While there is no guarantee to be made with COVID-19, our mitigation efforts seem to be quite effective at stopping the spread once it reaches our campus. We have staff that live all over the Metroplex. We have parents that work all over the Metroplex. And once again, those cases are increasing in that area. So it's no surprise, once again, that our cases might be increasing here. The question is, once they get here, how quickly can we identify them, and how effective can we stop those? And I believe that's taking place. Flexibility. We have been able to offer a great deal of flexibility to parents and students through choices of on-campus or connected learning. On-campus learning, we feature face-to-face instruction, and there's no replacement for the face-to-face instruction with our teachers. They do a fantastic job, and that's what the basis of our instruction is all about. It also features interaction with their peers, and which aids a great deal in our instructional collaboration. It features access to those group collaborations. Also, they have the benefit of many different learning experiences here as opposed to what you would have simply in front of a computer at home. And it also gives our students ready access to a full complement of things such as counselors. While we still have counselors that can work with online students, the immediate access of in-person is once again one of those things that can't be replaced. Through connected learning, there are benefits to that as well. There's access to curriculum without attending classes if that's necessary. And there's flexibility in scheduling. We offer asynchronous learning as opposed to synchronous. And what that means is students don't have to be sitting at their computer only during that class period. They do have the flexibility to take care of their assignments beyond that class period. Well, from the beginning, we chose to allow students access to every program possible, regardless of their choice of face-to-face or online learning. And we stated from the very beginning the two things that we have to have in this COVID time is flexibility and resilience. And our staff has exercised both of those to near flawlessness. Throughout the state, however, this fall, schools have noticed that students who were involved in online learning were falling behind academically. And many of these students were also collecting numerous absences. Now, it's worth noting that some are doing just fine with online learning. But for many, this just simply hasn't been working. And this should come as no surprise. If it were the best way to instruct all students, then this is what we would be doing all the time in every class. So back in October, in an attempt to limit the amount of academic damage our students suffered, our district chose to end online learning after Christmas break. Well, at the time, it was the only option available to us. Since then, we now have the option to allow students who are able to learn successfully in the remote environment to continue to do so. And we're actively exploring implementation of this. So connected learning is not going away. It would still be available for those who are being successful with it, for quarantined students, and for students with a medical waiver. At this time, I want to field a few questions that have been sent to us from parents. And by the way, we strongly value the partnership that we have with parents in all aspects of student learning. That's why we wanted to have this information sharing session to begin with. So we appreciate those of you who can attend this meeting virtually, as well as the questions and comments that you provide us. So let me start by going through some of these. I want to read the question as well as our responses. It says, every week I'm getting emails on positive results for COVID-19, and at the same time, you're having students come back to school. Is it really safe to take virtual school away? Well, again, as I stated the facts of the situation, we actually have very few of our students with COVID-19. And we have experienced some staff situations, and we certainly hope that those go down in the future, so that we can have all of our staff here to instruct our students. As long as that's been happening, it's done well. But as far as taking virtual school away, we will not be taking it away completely. Once again, those students who are successful at it, then I think there's a place for that. Also, those who have a medical condition that's documented by a physician can apply for a waiver to be able to be online as well, should they not fall in that first category. So, and of course, our quarantine students, when students are quarantined, they're going to have to have a way to continue their lessons, and so they will be using online learning. So it's not going away completely. Next one says, my daughter participates in distance learning, and it was difficult. It was a difficult start, but with communication to the administration and teachers, the process is now going very smoothly. And then she goes on to list a couple of the issues that were dealt with. And she goes on to say, there are still ways to improve the process, and I sincerely hope that the constructive criticism given to administration and staff is not deemed as complaints, but as helpful information to move forward and provide a positive learning environment for our students. I want to tell you that we completely value the parent input in this partnership. Anything that's going to help us have a better program for our students is certainly valued. Constructive criticism, absolutely. Show us where we need to shore things up, and so that we can get better at it. Our teachers have been working like a coal mine mule to get everything as perfect as they can for our kids. I am just absolutely amazed at their creativity and their energy and their desire to make everything they can of this. Probably online learning will never go away in school systems from this point forward. And that's where we are. We have the technology to do this. So our teachers have just taken this and run with it. Does that mean it's perfect? Absolutely not. But we're perfect in our effort to be as good as we can possibly make it. So thank you for your input. Thank you for your constructive criticism. Next question, will connected learning be available the rest of the school year? All I can tell you is that's probably the case based on what we're seeing right now from this disease. COVID-19, I think we were all last spring hoping that, well, maybe it'll be gone at the end of the summer. We talked about the heat being something that would do away with the virus, and it certainly has had little or no effect whatsoever on this virus. Now we're entering into the cold and flu season, and so we certainly don't see any slowdown of that either. I would guess that this is going to be with us for some time as far as the virus, and our connected learning also is going to be here as well. How can we help our students that are afraid to come back to class? And that's a very, very good question. One of the things is to instead of deal in fear, deal with facts. The numbers that we talk about here, those are simply facts. And by the way, and I believe this comes up a little bit further on our list here, but we do have a list of those cases. We have our COVID-19 dashboard. It's on our website, and one of the parents mentioned that it was a little bit hard to find. So we're going to have a link on our opening web page so that you can go directly to it. Some of you have seen it already, but that dashboard is updated with active cases for students, active cases for staff, and then those who have returned as well. That is updated by 6 p.m. every day. Currently, if you go to our website at venusisd.net, then you're going to across the top bar, you're going to see public what's it called? Public notices. Public disclosures. And if you'll click on public disclosures, you'll see a drop box, and it will list COVID-19 dashboard. And once again, that is posted by 6 p.m. every day so that you can see exactly what those numbers are, what those tallies are. Of course, we do send out email notices should it pertain to your child, but if it doesn't and your child's on another campus, then you can still go to this dashboard to get that information. And that's been up since August. Let's see. Will connected learning be available to all students, including those at primary school? Absolutely. Absolutely. How can we help? We've already done that one. Let's see. We've talked about students with medical conditions all over and already, and so students with medical conditions can apply for a waiver if they are currently being unsuccessful. Is connected learning considered self-paced? Not really. So you have assignments, and those assignments must be done, but you need to log on every day to the connected learning curriculum and get those assignments in and get them done. Although it doesn't have to be done during that class period, it does need to be submitted by midnight so that we can get that, have that record for attendance. All right. In January, will there be dedicated online teachers? As we reshuffle because of having more students come back on campus, we expect to have more that are dedicated online teachers. There's a question about special services, dyslexia, gifted and talented, and all of our special services. How can we make sure that those get addressed during online learning? Once again, an excellent question. Call your campus principal. They will, because this is highly individualized, call your campus principal to ensure that they plug you in directly to the directors of those programs so that we don't miss out on any of those services. Let's see. What can be done for students that are sick, but parents still send them to school? Well, it's an excellent question as well. Some of the times that we've had some situations where we've had to quarantine several students, it's because a sick child came to school. It is imperative that we know if students are sick. And the bottom line is, if your child is sick, please do not send them to school. The screening that we do as the kids walk in the door has actually caught some of these, and which is a good thing. Because that way they're not exposing other students. And so we've been able to send them home, and sure enough, we found out some COVID positives from that. If you will keep your child at home, and if you have concerns about that, please give us a call, or concerns about your child's health, please give us a call to help us best take care of your child and others as well. Let's see. What will you do about students who are returning on December the 7th to make sure that they're not coming back sick? Well, before they come back, we will be able to reach out to parents and check on their children. What that means is you'll be hearing from us to make sure that over the Thanksgiving break that we didn't we're going to check to ask if your child has been tested, if they've tested positive for COVID-19. So we will send out an email and asking for responses to that. Is attendance going to be done differently for online learning? There were issues with Skyward where it showed one thing and the Chromebook showed something different. Well, we're going to continue to heavily monitor the online program and to eliminate discrepancies in the data. If you recognize discrepancies, please contact your child's principal immediately. So we want to make sure that we eliminate those. If you see that happening, whether it's in grades, whether it's in attendance, please contact us immediately so that we can rectify those. Can my child complete their work in the evening? We have situations where for various reasons they're not able to get on in the morning. Yes, excuse me. But they do need to, as we said earlier, log on every day and have their assignments submitted by midnight. Here's a question about the close contact identification and the vetting process that we go through. How in the world do we figure out who is to be quarantined? Well, we do several things. We do interviews, not only, of course, with the students, but also the staff. But we also go back and review camera footage. So we try to, if we know somebody has tested positive for COVID-19, we'll go back and look at cafeteria footage. We'll look at hallway footage. And so I think we've been very effective at taking care of that. Here's another question about how do I find updated information on the number of cases reported to each school. Once again, the COVID-19 dashboard located on our website. Can I still pick up a hotspot? And the answer to that is yes. Thursday and Friday of this week, that's tomorrow and Friday, from 7:30 to 4 p.m. at the high school library. So from 7:30 to 4 p.m., come by the high school library to pick up a hotspot. If those times or dates are not conducive to your schedule, please give us a call, and we will be able to help you out with that. I don't want you to be without access to the internet during this time. Here's a question about social distancing. With all these students coming back, how in the world are you going to be able to ensure social distancing? What we've done is one of the biggest areas of social distancing issues is in our, is in our common areas, such as the cafeterias. Each of our campuses have identified expansion areas to where they can have students go from not only the cafeteria but expand out into gym space and other spaces, so that some of them even are using some classrooms to be able to expand out into to be able to have more distancing of our students. So going to be using various things throughout the classes, but our main areas of concern, our main area of concern is the cafeteria, not just because of the number of students in there, but also the fact that when they eat, of course, they don't have their mask up. So it's very important that we have some distancing in there. And the last question that I have here, this says, will students have to wear the mask? And the answer is yes. There are lots of differing views and opinions on masks, their effectiveness, so forth. Right now, we are going to continue to wear masks if it helps at all, and right now it appears to be helping. Then we're going to enforce the mask. So it's not going to be an option. I say masks. Some of them are also wearing shields. Okay. Well, we will have. Do we have more questions, Liz?
Sir, we do not.
Okay. Please continue to send your questions in, your comments in continually. I would rather have done this in person with you, because I think that's just a lot more conducive to an intimate environment where we can actually share data and information. However, I didn't want to not be able to provide this opportunity for you. So please continue to send in your comments, your questions, and any concerns that you have with this. You can send those in to covid19@venusisd.net, and your input really does help shape our decisions. We want to make the right decisions, so none of what we do is a my way or the highway type of situation, although we are very convinced that bringing students back is the best for them academically. We are also equally, if not more so, convinced that we are going to, and convicted to provide the most safe environment possible for our kids. Once the disease hits our campus, it doesn't spread. And so we've been successful in that so far. As I said earlier, there are no guarantees with COVID-19, and so I'll not be foolish enough to make any guarantees to you. But what I will tell you, the only guarantee I'll make you is that you'll get 100% of our attention to the safety and security of our campuses. At this time, again, I would encourage you to send in any questions, comments, or concerns. And good night, and may God bless each of you. Thank you.